When the Suns welcomed the shorthanded Nets into Phoenix last night, it was a good opportunity to see how much progress they've made. Winners of 6 in a row and 9 out of 10, they put the beat down on Brooklyn for 29 minutes with timely shot making and good execution. But things change rapidly when you have James Tiberius Harden on your team, and we gotta finish that perfectly captured where both of these teams are heading. With Devin Booker leading the way at 27.4 points per game and over 40% shooting from 3 the past 10 games, the 1-2 punch of him and CP3 was leading to a lot of success. And they started off with a step-up screen into flare screen, a common action they like to run. It's well defended, so they flow into a pick and roll out top. Watch how DeAndre Jordan steps over to support Joe Harris's on-ball defense, putting him a few steps out of position to help defend this curl from Booker. Credit to Tyler Johnson for getting around the screen to contest, but he's too short to affect the shot. Another set the Suns run all the times is horns, with a double high post filled. Notice how Ayton cross screens for Bridges to get him open for the catch, and there's flex action for Booker on the weak side. Harden assumes Bruce Brown is going to switch, that doesn't happen, and they get the little half hook. Booker lit the Nets up for 18 first half points, with quick hitters like this where he comes off the pin down from Ayton, flows back into a pick and roll. Watch how he puts his defender in jail expertly, while Jordan has to deal with both the ball and Ayton at the hoop on the roll. The simple step through gets a layup. I like how they get Devin Booker on the low block against smaller defenders. This should be the future of post-ups with guards getting more touches down there. Strong movement to the middle opens up the spin, and the inside hand finish avoids any possibility of Shamet flying by and blocking a potential left-handed shot. Here's another pet play the Suns run a lot, the slipped flare screen by E'Twaun Moore. The Nets switch this nicely and prevent the layup, so this flows into a pick and roll, and the Suns have the mismatch they want down low with Saric guarded by Shamet. Watch how the Nets expertly scrams Shamet out of there to get a slightly bigger defender in Luwawu Cabarrot on him. On the duck-in, Shamet foolishly helps from one pass away off of Cam Johnson, then tries to close out, but Johnson gets baseline, forces extreme rotations, and when TLC can't get there in time, Abdel Nader nails the open look for a big lead. Again, the Suns force a mismatch down low, and again TLC scrams Shamet out of there. This is promising for a Nets defense that has been terrible all season long. Then watch Jeff Green scram TLC out of there to get the best matchup for the defense. However, Nader takes Shamet off the dribble into the middle of the lane, where most players become unstoppable. Here's another slip of the flare screen by Saric after the ball swings to the left side. You can see Jeff Green concerned about the cutter to the corner, allowing Saric to get to the front of the rim for a jump hook. The higher and faster you run your offense, the more difficult it is for the defense to stop. Ayton slips the screen before making any contact. Booker is already heading fast downhill, and it wouldn't have mattered if Tyler Johnson was earlier. What's a guy his size going to do to stop this? The Nets went to a zone at the end of the first half, and the Suns want to set an inside ball screen on Brown here. Tyler Johnson pinches in, while Jordan slides up near the free throw line. This puts Jeff Green in a tough spot, having to guard a sharpshooter in Bridges on the wing and Crowder in the dunker spot on the baseline. Great ball movement bends the zone out of shape until CP3 finds the open shot from out top to extend the lead to 24 points. But all good things must come to an end, and midway through the third, the Suns started to set. Harris sets a screen for Harden. Booker calls out a switch but didn't realize Bridges was on the wrong side of Harris. Great read to cut back door, then pull up as Ayton came over to help. This set got screwed up as Brown got in the way of a pin away being set for Harris by Jordan. But this was what James Harden was built for. All those years in Houston running stagnant offense designed for his isolations comes in handy as he attacks Booker from the right wing, forces Jordan to step up and help, and the easy dump-off pass explains why they call the area Jordan caught the ball the dunker spot. The threat of James Harden in transition is very real, and helping Bridges is important, but not if it's helping one pass away. Booker should have been shadowing Harden near the free throw line. Instead, Chris Paul bumps all the way down, leading to a 20-foot closeout and an open three-pointer to cut the lead to 13. Bridges is an excellent defender, so so the Nets quickly set a screen to force a switch, which happens way too easily if you ask me, and now the much smaller and defensively challenged Cam Payne has to deal with him. Bridges loses his man, but Harden doesn't hit him, and the offense freelances into a pick and roll. Great rotations all around, and I like how aggressive Crowder is knowing the shot clock is winding down, but Shamet hits a tough step back and the lead keeps dwindling. Here's another horn set, this time by the Nets, and instead of a flex action for Chiozza, it turns into a double pin down for Harden, who rejects the screens, runs into Johnson, who needs to be stronger than this to go down like he was shot from a little bump. And it directly leads to Harden being wide open for the handoff into 3-ball, cutting the lead to 8. With Saric defending Jeff Green, the Nets invert the traditional pick and roll setup by screening their center with their guard. Saric trips over the 3-point line and not only gives up the layup, but fouls Green at the same time. Things were still going okay for the Suns in the fourth quarter though. Up 11, the Nets come down the court fast, forcing the mismatch out top. The Suns switch this flare screen by Harris well, only to have him hit a tough one in the face of Nader. And here's where things really went off the rails for the Suns, as DeAndre Ayton became the target of the Nets defense over and over. The handoff causes a switch, and while Harris isn't known as a dribble drive artist, he hits Ayton with a shot fake, pivots around, and then hits the nice lefty finger roll. On this screen from Ayton, they had a chance to take advantage of a severe mismatch down low, but the spacing was poor, help was around, and opened up a skip to Cam Johnson for a contested 3 that misses. The Suns are in position to get back okay, but completely screw it up. Ayton appears to understand he's got to pick up Brown, while Crowder is picking up Shamet. That means Booker hasn't figured out who he's going to guard. Ayton steps up, leaving Brown open for a layup, but Booker doesn't close out to Shamet, who gets a wide open shot to cut the lead to 5. At this point, Suns fans were wondering why Ayton was still in the game when the Nets went small with Jeff Green at center. On the Shamet ball screen, the Suns absolutely did not have to switch this, but Bridges insists, leaving Ayton to get royally blown by on the Shamet drive and nice lefty finish reaching back. 5-point game, Booker struggling through a 2 for 10 second half. The Nets push the ball up and again catch the Suns screwing up their transition defense. CP3 is lost out there long enough to not realize he needs to pick up the ball, putting Bridges in a tough spot to stop the ball, but also get to the corner. This proves too difficult and the lead is now down to 2. Having Chris Paul helps your offense out a lot, and this early dagger off the break looks awfully similar to another shot we'll see in a minute, as Tyler Johnson doesn't get around the ball screen fast enough to stop this 3 from dropping through. But with Ayton still out there guarding the smaller Jeff Green, the Nets get clever and screen for Green with Harden. This didn't have to be switched either, and Bridges was so concerned for Ayton that he ends up helping one pass away, opening up the easiest pass Harden could make and an easy shot for Green to hit. The Nets do it again on this possession when it felt like the Suns could have fought harder to avoid the switch, and Harden welcomes Ayton to the dance, blows right by him, and then catches Crowder sleeping for a step despite guarding the best shooter in the gym who cuts it to 4. CP3 was scorching in the fourth quarter, scoring 17 points on 7 for 9 shooting and 3 for 5 from 3 as he attacks the mismatch from way downtown to hit a crucial 3 to give them an 8-point lead. At this point, Monty Williams should have gone with someone else besides Ayton if he truly wanted to win this game. Cam Johnson would have been perfect for the role on defense, but if not, then they could have pre-switched this and had Crowder taken Green, sending Ayton to guard Tyler Johnson. Instead, it's an easy switch and attack out top, where Harden's delay game is second to none, getting right into the lane where the help should be coming from Booker, but instead, Bridges tries to do the right thing by stunting at the ball in order to get right back to his man in the corner, but you can't stunt with both feet in the lane. It's too easy a pass and too long a closeout to do anything about it. On this inside ball screen to roll, Ayton should be setting the screen to get Crowder as much time as possible. He completely avoids it, and the skip pass gets just enough time for Harris to bother Crowder into a miss. Why is Bridges guarding Tyler Johnson here? Put him on Green and blow up that pick and roll pairing. Instead, it's silly how easy this was for James Harden. Up by 3, the Suns run a double cross screen for Booker out top, which forces the switch of Jeff Green onto him. I thought this was clear to the Suns that Booker can definitely attack this matchup, and while Harden helped from one pass away, he was aggressive enough to knock it away into a turnover. A late whistle indicated a terrible call. This ref had no angle to see what really happened, and it was overturned. I think it's an issue that the overturning result has to be a jump ball. Had the Nets lost the tap, it would have almost punished them for good defense. This time, the Nets get clever and screen for Green with Harden. They finally defend this well enough to not have to switch, right until the point that Uncle Jeff blows right by him after rejecting the screen for the layup. CP3 is the gold standard for point guard play and crunch time decision making, so it was hard to believe that on this pick and roll he didn't 1. Just shoot the mid-range he's so good at, 2. Dump it down to an open Ayton who had a mouse in the house on the roll. Instead, he kicks it to a decent shot but not as good as the other two could have been. And because Harden is Harden, he takes a page out of CP3's book in the most crucial part of the game, and he catches Bridges being way too nonchalant getting back on defense. Harden says thank you as he nails the shot to get them the lead. Another head scratcher as the Suns don't have time for a 2-for-1. Just get a good shot, hit it, and defend for the win. This sideline out of bounds has Booker cut to the top, but it forces a switch. This is where he should have stopped and ISO'd on Green out top. Instead, CP3 inexplicably continues to run the play into a ball screen, and this switch gets a better defender onto Booker. Shamet holds his ground, contests without fouling, and the game is about over for the Suns in shocking fashion. The Suns have to foul in the situation, and while there was some time to try and trap and go for a steal, it is clear Booker wants to take this foul, considering how hard he whacks Harden on the back. Harden's 2 free throws seal the win for the Nets, and this game serves 2 purposes. 1, to announce to the world that James Harden, not Kyrie Irving, is the lead guard on this team. It's how they'll be at their best when fully healthy, and could also lend an argument to Harden being the MVP this year. And 2, the flip side is the Suns, while promising and still waiting to be fully healthy, might have a coaching issue that won't be resolved this season as they make the playoffs and get their feet wet. If you like this video, you're going to love my new YouTube membership. There are 3 tiers to choose from, all with tremendous bonus content, including private watch parties. Join me for the next time these two play, and you can come on the show as well. You in?